No, they think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
My goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Man, can we talk a little boxing today? Can we talk a little boxing today? Salute to my guy, C-Dub. Salute Body Work, just here to listen. Yeah, I think you in for a treat, C-Dub, man. You got an open mind. It's almost like you like following the bouncing ball. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think we got to do a better job at that. You seem like a sound individual, man. You got your opinions, you got your, your takes, you listen, you give good feedback, you express yourself. You're a good person I like to have around, man. So I'm appreciative of you coming in, supporting your bro. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Cookie Monster. Hey, Body Work, sounding good. Salute, Cookie Monster. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But we in for a treat today. Recently, pretty much, ESPN came out with their pound for pound list. And this is something that I be keeping abreast of. I be looking at knockout of the year, who fought, all of the major fights every weekend. I record who is fighting who look good, who whatever. So sometimes I got to go back through the files and actually see who did what during what time. So I've been staying abreast of the numbers, right? I've been staying abreast of the numbers and everything that's been going on. And I've been staying abreast of the boxers and what's been going on. And I know we're getting ready head into the last quarter, because you got October, November, December, but that's really the first quarter. That would explain why some people want to get off to a good start, because the real first quarter of the fiscal year, the business year, is that this last quarter getting ready to be the first quarter. So at the end of last year, on December the 27th, I came out with this pound for pound list. And anybody that's going to stick around with the information I got to present, you're going to see how well I am. You can't say I'm a quarter shy of a year ago, but this was my list. And you'll be surprised to see my list and how it lines up to what ESPN arrived to as early as yesterday. But with no further ado, let's get into it. Let's see. Now this is ESPN, and y'all know how I do. Y'all know exactly how I gotta do this thing, because it's a lot of people. I mean, they might not like me, man. They might not like what I'm doing, so I gotta protect myself at all times. Fair use, man. I'm just going over the information, and so that we can all look, listen, and Lizern. But let me get back to this. So, boxing pound for pound rankings. Canelo stays put, but in a way gains ground. You got the great Canelo Alvarez and Harvey Dock. Harvey Dock, man. This was on September the 18th, 7:48 a.m. Canelo Alvarez's unanimous decision victory over Edgar Berlanga, his 8th defense of at least one super middleweight title, solidified his spot atop the 168-pound division, but didn't earn him many extra votes to move up in ESPN's pound-for-pound rankings. It was Alvarez's 6th fight in Las Vegas on Mexican Independence Day weekend and his 4th at T-Mobile Arena. Alvarez, 62, 2-2 with 39 KOs of Guadalajara, Mexico, dominated Berlanga 22-1 with 17 KOs and scored a knockdown in the 3rd round with the thunderous left hook to the head. But Alvarez failed to score his first KO victory since November of 2021 when he stopped Caleb Plant in the 11th round against the heavy underdog in Berlanga. I did good. Now, what are they going to say? Alvarez said after the fight. They said, I don't fight young fighters. They always talk. But I'm the best fighter in the world. My experience and my talent was the difference. It's about hard work and intelligence. It's everything together. If you have talent, you need discipline as well. Regardless of the victory, Alvarez didn't move up in the rankings and stayed at number 5. Most voters kept Alvarez in the same spots, including ESPN boxing analyst and Hall of Famer Tim Bradley Jr. The fighters preceding Canelo on the list have consistently knocked out their opponents, particularly those seen as lower-level threats and some elite opposition, Bradley said of his decision to not move Alvarez up on his list. Although Canelo is great, the sizzle is missing in his performance despite his popularity and being labeled as the face of boxing. ESPN boxing insider Mike Coppinger moved Alvarez down 2 spots on his list. Another fighter in the top 10 was in action since our last ranking. Naoya Inoue defended his undisputed junior featherweight championship with a 7th round TKO victory over TJ Donaghy at Ariake Arena in Tokyo on September the 3rd. This was the 2nd defense of the WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA titles for Inoue, 28-0, 25 knockouts. A 4-division champion and undisputed at 118 and 112 pounds. And I think they got to fix that, man. They got to fix that, man. Y'all got to fix that, man. That's not true, but he is double undisputed. With the win, Inoue earned enough votes to force a tie for number 2 spot with Terrence Crawford. Our panel of Coppinger, Bradley, Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas, Nick Parkinson, Eric Raskin, Michelle Joy Phelps, Claudia Trejos, Bernardo Osuna, Christina Poncher, Eric Woodyard, Bernardo Pilati, Charles Moynihan, Salvador Rodriguez, Jim Ziroli, Michael Mascaro, Aladdin Freeman, Victor Lopez, Damian Delgado Arvahoff shares its votes. And if you look at that list, man, man, it's weighted. I'm gonna say it's weighted. If you look at the people that's on that list and their backgrounds and all that, it's kind of weighted if you look at it in totality. But let me not get off topic. They got Alexander Usyk at number 1. He was previously ranked at number 1. I don't put heavyweights on mine. Okay, I don't put heavyweights on mine. They got Terrence Crawford at number 2. He basically tied for 2, but they got him at number 2 because they got Inoue behind Terrence Crawford. And his previous ranking was number 3, right? They got Dimitri Bivol. His previous ranking was at number 4. He was at number 4. He stayed the same. Canelo Alvarez, his previous ranking was 5. He stayed at 5. Now, of course, Dimitri Bivol did beat Canelo Alvarez. They got Artur Beterbiev right after Canelo Alvarez at number 6. He stayed the same. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, he's ranked at number 7. He stayed the same. Gervonta Davis, he was ranked at number 8. His previous ranking was number 8. He stayed the same. Shakur Stevenson, his previous ranking was at number 9. He stayed the same. Teofimo Lopez, his previous ranking was at number 10. He stayed the same. The rankings are based on descending point system, with a first place vote awarding 10 points, a second place vote awarding 9 points, and so on. A tie goes to the fighter with the highest ranking, then the one with the most votes at the ranking. Other receiving votes, they had Junto Nakatani at number 12, Tyson Fury at number 9. They still have Vasily Lomachenko at number 7, David Benavidez at number 5, and Devin Haney 1. Well, I guess those are votes. I'm sorry. Those are votes. 12 for Nakatani, 9 for Fury, 7 for Lomachenko, 5 for Benavidez, 1 for Devin Haney. You know, and they actually had the list here and who they had. Bradley, he had Usyk, Bud, Inoue, Beterbiev, Bam, Tank, Bivol, Canelo, T.O., and Shakur. Let's look at what Teddy had. Teddy had Usyk, Crawford, Inoue, Bivol, Tank, Loma, Beterbiev, Alvarez, Fury, and Bam. Let's go with Tessitore. Usyk, Crawford, Inoue, Bivol, Beterbiev, Bam, Canelo, Nakatani is in his list. Steve, Shakur, and Tank at number 10. So he got Nakatani. I mean, we're not going to get into the orders and all that, because, I mean, people might look at mine and say, oh, man, look at your orders. But let's just see. Claudia Trejos, let's see who she had. Inoue, Crawford, Usyk, Bivol, Canelo, Beterbiev, Bam, Tank, Shakur, and T.O. last. Anybody else I really want to see what they said about whatever? I think that's enough. First place, Usyk, Crawford, Inoue, they was all in first place. Those are the amount of votes, 11, 4, and 4. Crawford, Inoue, Usyk, Alvarez, second place. Inoue, Crawford, Usyk, third place. Bivol, Canelo, Beterbiev, Crawford, Bam, Shakur in fourth place. Fifth place, Bivol, Canelo, Beterbiev, Tank, and Bam. Fifth place. Sixth place, Bam, Beterbiev, Bivol, out, Canelo, Davis. Just their little orders and who they got. In 10th place, Shakur was first. 9th place, Shakur was first. 8th place, Tank was first. 7th place, Bam was first. 6th place, Bam was first. 5th place, Bivol was first. Very, very interesting. Now, that's ESPN's. So let's remember ESPN's now. And we can always come back to it because it's right here. We can come back to it. But when I play my little 3-minute video after this, after I read you this, because you got to have an open mind when you look at this. After I play this, after I go through this thing about pound for pound, an article back from 2019 with no other than SOG, the Son of God, Andre Ward, with his take in it. So we'll come back there. Let's see. Let me check my comment before I go into that. Roll Rage. What up, Bodywork? Salute, Roll Rage. Good to see you in the building. Salute. Let's see. Roll Rage is in the building. All right. This is what I want to go over here. Very interesting. Lineal. This is Lineal right here. And again, because we know how YouTube is. Let me go back over here. This is not mine. I'm reading the article. So we can kind of gather our thoughts around this, because you're gonna hear this pound for pound. Watch. Now I'm jumping off the porch with it, but you're gonna see and hear these type of discussions being made around pound for pound here, and we're gonna see based on what's said in this article, how you see pound for pound and how you view it, right? What did the term pound for pound actually mean? Adam McMeeking. Over the last century, this was on July the 6th of 2019, so basically a little over 5 years ago, right? 5 years and 2 months, right? A little over 5 years and 2 months ago. What does the term pound for pound actually mean? Over the last century, the way in which the term pound for pound has been discussed in boxing circles has changed. In boxing, pound for pound has been used for over a century. One such early example being when the Evening Star newspaper in 1906 described battling Nelson as the fighter of the century at weight and stated that he would never backwater or split hairs when required to meet any boxer on a pound for pound basis. As per Luke Williams, A Short History of Pound for Pound, Boxing Monthly in 2016. If the weight was equal, battling Nelson would fight anyone. By the middle of the 20th century, the term pound for pound best became heavily linked with Sugar Ray Robinson in recognition of his outstanding talent. Despite being too small to compete in the more lucrative and popular heavyweight division, Muhammad Ali summarized how many viewed Robinson. Pound for pound, when they say Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter pound for pound, meaning that if I imagine he was a heavyweight fighting with the same style, he would beat the greatest. I would have to admit, I would have to say yes. So that's how he saw it. I have his fight films, and the man was beautiful. Timing, speed, reflexes, rhythm, his body, everything was beautiful. Pause. But yeah, everything was beautiful. That's according to Ali on Sugar Ray Robinson. Traditionally, this was how the term was generally applied. Visually, two fighters being the same weight and based on talent and skill, which boxer would be victorious. In 1989, I was 9 years old. The Ring magazine began producing the monthly pound for pound top 10. Add more depth and organization to the topic. Ring magazine editor Tom Gray gave his summary of the varied criteria that can be used in compiling a pound for pound list in his introduction to the Ring pound for pound history, from Iron Mike to Chocolatito. One fan might appreciate the technical side of the sport, whereas another might marvel at the brutality of a clean knockout. One member of a media group might appreciate a long-reigning champion, whereas another might solely focus on the opposition beaten. No pound for pound list is synonymous with truth. Not Ring magazine's, not yours, not mine. During Sky's pound for pound program in 1996, the latest veteran boxing expert, Reginald Gutteridge, gave his opinion on what was needed to be pound for pound top fighter. It's who they fought. That's who I consider as the best fighter, as he handled the best fighters of his time, not ducked and dived his way through. The manner of victory over the best possible opposition, not perfect records and quantity, was more important in Gutteridge's estimation. ESPN boxing analyst and former pound for pound number one Andre Ward, FightHike.com, in February 2018, held a similar point. Listen to this. It doesn't mean you have to have all wins, but there has to be a consistent track record where I've got more big wins against big name fighters and in 50-50 matchups, if you will, than I do losses. In 2019, the question, imagine they were the same weight and fought, who would win, seems obsolete when the leading boxing websites update their pound for pound list. Currently, most boxing sites, Ring, TBRB, Boxing News, ESPN, list Vasily Lomachenko as their number one pound for pound fighter. Examining Ukrainian's career help identify the qualities that modern boxing analysts took for when picking their number one among active fighters. I'm not going to go through this because it's at a time where they were doing a lot of glazing. Not saying that Vasil didn't, warrant, his just due to a certain extent, but they're going to do a lot of, so I'm just going to read the main bullet points. Recent performances. That was a criteria. Victory over high quality opposition. That was another criteria. The style in which the victories were achieved. That was another criteria. And only under this, I'm only going to read one part under this, number 3. Eye-catching flamboyant skills are often associated with pound-for-pound top dog. A 90s Roy Jones Jr. throwing a knockout punch from behind his back springs to mind, but they aren't essential. If a fighter has convincingly ticked the criteria above, then they are supremely skilled. Whether they blow the opposition away in one round like Mike Tyson or win a pair of 12-round unanimous decisions like Roman Gonzalez, Bernard Hopkins may not have the highlight reel that matches Manny Pacquiao's, but nevertheless, he deserved his pound-for-pound number 1 position in 2004. Andre Ward said, it shouldn't be about popularity. Remember this, guys. Andre Ward said this. It shouldn't be about popularity. It shouldn't even be about skill, because guys get it in different kinds of ways. Some guys don't have flashy skills. But anybody that's considered on the pound-for-pound list, they still got skills. Historically, when considering the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, analysts often attempt to visualize fighter A being the same weight as fighter B and gauge who would win in a one-on-one situation. The emphasis these days is generally based on a more structured breakdown of relatively recent opposition that the boxer in question has faced. Having said this, if a pound-for-pound number 1 has impressively thrashed a string of top-notch foes like Ukrainian Lomachenko has, most would still fancy him to beat any fighter in the world if viewed in that traditional, imagine if they were the same weight manner. So it's an argument. It's really like two different ways they were looking at it, man. Bottom line is you're supposed to have skills, but some people view it as if 2 fighters were the same weight, who would come out victorious? One fighter says that, looking at a guy like Sugar Ray Robinson, if he was fighting at, according to Ali, if he was fighting at heavyweight, he would beat everybody with that same style that he has. So it's a subtle nuance, and everybody put their little whatever on it. But when it comes to like recent competition and all that, you know, the standards and everything, they change around that. I thought that was interesting, man. So that's going to shape how we look at pound for pound. You've seen what ESPN said for pound, and we're going to start hearing a lot of different things when it comes to the pound for pound. But what I want to do with y'all right now, let's see. I want y'all to see mine. Now, this was December 27th now. This is the list. This was in December 27th, right? So y'all see my list, right? So they have Usyk at number 1. Let me see. This my list, right? So all right. So while y'all can see that they got Usyk at number 1. I don't put heavyweights on mine. Bud 2, Inoue 2, Bivol 4, Canelo 5, Beterbiev 6, Bam 7, Tank 8, Shakur 9, Teofimo 10. So, only thing that's really different is I don't have heavyweights on mine, and I put Spence in at 9. But yeah, Ali, but Benavidez, I don't think, you know what I'm saying, did they slight Benavidez on this one? Yeah, they got Beterbiev in there, rightfully so. They got Beterbiev in there. I got Benavidez in there. I don't have a heavyweight in there. And at that time, I had Spence on the list, even though, you know, he suffered the loss to Bud in July of that same year. My list came out in December, but it is what it is. So this was when, just to let y'all know, I'm gonna let it go the whole. I'm not gonna let it go the whole. I'm not gonna let it go the whole time. But this was just to let y'all know, man. Like I don't be far off, man. It's nutritional value over here, man. Regardless what, regardless, it'd be nutritional value. Look at this. Look how look. This was Let me go here. Oh, hold on. Let me do this just to show you this. Thing only got 2 likes, 45 views. There ain't no shame in my game, man. That's what I was getting. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was getting at the time. But you can see it right here. Look, December the 23rd, 2023. Right? That's when this came out. Don't be scared to drop your pound for pound list in the comments too. You know what I'm saying? People like to, sometimes people just like to talk about the pound for pound list when it's time to argue or debate. You know what I'm saying? This was almost, I'm a 1/4 shy of a year, and my list is almost the same as what they arriving at now. Some people might have, it might be a slight shift. Like maybe where I would put T.O., where I would put Benavidez, you know what I'm saying? And the only reason why, really, I'm gonna tell you, Canelo is the only one on here that actually ever had Benavidez too. And that's why I had to put Benavidez on there too, because most people don't put heavyweight, they don't put people who come up positive either. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I had Canelo in that 10. Oh, and that's back when I was asking some real materials in boots. They abide by the IBF. Should WBA, WBO, and WBC. And since then, the WBA adopted that 12 pounds.
And he seems much more of a psychological case than a physical case. He's got incredible physical.
That's going into the pro box. Almontes, in my opinion, Beterbiev is top 5 pound for pound. Yeah, I think I kind of think Bivol going to get it, but I wouldn't argue with anybody that had Beterbiev up there. It's just I've seen Beterbiev fight. I know what he's capable of. A lot of people are very, very high on him. And for me, it was just a preference. So somebody want to say, oh man, you don't got Beterbiev on there. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Deal with me. But that's the list, man. That is the list. How do you view your pound for pound? Is my question. I would love to know your list. I would love to know what you think about ESPN and their list. What do you think about their list? But let's see, that's mine. I'm gonna probably tweak it. I'm probably tweak it a little bit, but to be honest, not much has changed. I mean, I try not to get too high or too low on the performances because I know the skill sets, but it's starting to get real interesting as we start seeing some of these maneuvers and these guys like kind of squeezing and edging around each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's getting kind of weird, man. And you know how the internet is. They stand on this divide and conquer stuff, man. Like, you know, there's so many A-sides on YouTube. Oh man, it be cracking me up. There's so many A-sides on YouTube, man. They be causing the most catastrophic damage online, man. And I'm just here to put stakes in the ground, man, and let people know what's really going on, man. But this was the list. This was from December. We seen ESPN's. And let's start thinking because the year's getting ready to close. There's still some major fights coming up. And people are going to be having their strong opinions. There's going to be a whole lot of recency bias, like based on like 1 or 2 fights. It's a card going on Friday night. I hadn't heard many people talk about it yet, but it's a card going on Friday night that I mean, it got Munguia. We get to see what Munguia is going to do. And you also get to see, people don't really know the guy Eric Basinyan, but I think he was saying he's going to try to knock Munguia out. He got like a 71% knockout rate. I don't really think he's a knockout artist. But we get to see Munguia. We get to see El General, like Emiliano Vargas. I think he's a 140-pounder, man. He's making some noise. He's building his brand. He's building his image. He got, you know what I'm saying? He got that bloodline in him. You know what I'm saying? It's another set of brothers, the Mason brothers. You got the McGrandy twins. They, you know what I'm saying? They went pro. They getting their feet wet. I think that they're very young. But it's some bloodlines. You got DB3 getting ready to happen. Is DB3 and the Vargas boys, are they on a crash, on a head-on collision? I mean, I know they were trying to do the whole thing. I think one of them clashed up against Ryan. The other one might be trying to get Ryan at some point. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not, but we getting ready to see some bloodlines. It'd be cool to do an episode called Bloodlines with all these new brothers like DB3, the Vargas dynasty, the Mason brothers, and really do an honest assessment at where they at and the likelihood of them actually having a powwow. You know what I'm talking about? I would love to do an episode like that or a segment like that. But There's some things going on. I think everybody's really concerned with. A lot of people over here are concerned with the implications of this fight. Can Dark Horse Dubois upset AJ? There's a lot of people over here that are secretly watching, knowing that this has big implications. Why? Because there has been a reemergence in the heavyweight division. Once people, especially since people seen Bacoli do what he did, they seen Zhang do what they did, you know, to a lot of people's superhero. And since it's a resurgence, I always say this, we have to admit that there was a decline in the heavyweight division. Well, it's coming back because a sneaky fight like this and the sneaky excitement that everybody not gonna jump out the window and be like, oh man, I want to see who win this. People ain't gonna say they buying it. People ain't gonna say they watch, but people are going to be watching this fight. Why? Because it has big implications. AJ pretty much got to show that, hey, I'm the big, you know what I'm saying? I'm the big fish across the pond outside of what Usyk, Fury. The stuff that happened with Usyk, I'm not sure if that was like humiliation. Y'all ever notice that it's starting, this whole humiliation ritual stuff starting to be, you know, ever present. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if that was that. I read a couple things about it, looked up some things. It seemed like it was really just a big misunderstanding because they missed they plane, was gesturing in a physical manner. And I guess, well, I know I went across the pond a couple times, and when you get around customers and you start getting around with people who y'all don't speak the same language and a lot of stuff going on, and, you know, security and the way things happen in airports, they do not play. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather contain you and restrain you and get you out the way, and better be safe than sorry. So I think that was just a big mishap. Maybe it wasn't a humiliation ritual. Maybe it was just a minor mishap, and because of his popularity, they decided to air it. Who knows? But a lot of people are excited about this. The undercard look like it's pretty much catering to the guys across the pond, even though there are some sneaky good fights over there. Hamza Shiraz is going up against, what's that guy? Tyler Denny. And Kakasi, the guy who Shakur was getting ready to fight, who knocked out Joe Cordina, he's getting ready to fight Josh Warrington. I got a nice little wager on a little 3 fight parlay, and I should be getting some bread. I'll be surprised if I'm not getting some bread off of this off of this card right here. I think I'm gonna get a nice little bit of bread off of this, based on the selections I've made, which are very practical, because it looks like it's gonna happen. But a lot of people are interested in that, and Willie Hutchinson against Buatsi. A lot of people just counting Willie out of it, and thinking that Buatsi just gonna do his thing. But Hutchinson got some feistiness in him, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say I've seen a ton of his fights, but his style, his attitude, is, you know, his spirit in the ring, how he fight, like, he a feisty dude, man. He a feisty dude. But that's what's going on, man. Keep your eyes and ears peeled out for, you know, people's pound for pound. Because watch, they're going to start coming out. They're going to start having their opinions. They're going to start arguing. Don't get swept up in the hoopla. Why? Because you can look at pound for pound in so many different ways. A lot of different ways you can look at pound for pound, and whether or not you don't want to get caught up in something that's trivial. It's trivial. It's an opinion. It's just a list of names. That's why you can't get mad at what order, whatever. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh my gosh, you got Bud at first and you got Canelo at number 10. So what? They both on the pound for pound list. It's a fantasy thing. But that's a little history on the pound for pound. You heard Andre Ward's take. So when Andre Ward say the stuff that he say, like when he talk about Shakur and stuff like that, and he says, oh yeah, and then you hear his definition of what pound for pound, and then when you put Shakur on the scale based on what Andre Ward said about him and what he think pound for pound, it get very interesting. Because pound for pound means recent competition You been in, according to Andre Ward, I read it out for y'all. When you've been in 50-50 fights, and you in the big names, what he say? The big names in tough fights, 50-50 fights, you had more of them than you have losses. It does not mean that you don't have any losses. It just means you have big names in 50-50, basically competitive fights. He weights that as far as pound for pound. So I'm like, okay, so when we throw pound for pound, when we, you know what I'm saying, when we shoot and aim, and we say, okay, this guy right here, he's pound for pound. When we do that, right, when we aim that and we say, hey, he's pound for pound, we need to put him on that scale, bang. What y'all think? You know what I'm saying? It get real interesting when people names tend to land on there, and it kind of got to be some kind of weird science. People get moved up, people get moved down, and if y'all notice, man, I didn't even do any videos about Inoue and the Doheny fight, man. Why? Because for me, it was not gonna gain me any ground. Y'all already know how I feel about Naoya Inoue, man. And it's too bad that StreamYard for some reason won't let me upload my thumbnail, man. The thumbnail that's on the cover of this, it won't let me get it inside. It won't let me bring it inside of here, man. But I'm putting the link out there. And shout out to Al Montes, Roll Rage, Cookie Monster, C-Dub, everybody who come by and listen. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to drop, you know, and see what y'all thought, man. I know it's gonna be some more lists coming out. There's some fights that's gonna make people change their minds. They do it every week. It's a lot of recency bias. I try to look at it the long haul. I play the long game. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it, man, like pretty much people might get kind of offended about some of the takes that I say in the meantime, in between time, because it's the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. But in the long haul, with a measured approach, body work don't be off. The channel don't be that, you know what I'm saying? Body work is in the channel. The channel don't be off, man. It don't be that far off. I mean, for me not to have to really change the list, I might have to tweak. I might have to tweak one thing. You know what I'm saying? I might have to tweak one thing on that list. I might have to either remove a name or put it all the way at number 10. Or pull one person up who I think is pound for pound. Maybe snatch one person off who I thought was pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? It just depends. We'll see in due time. But it should be a good, interesting weekend of boxing. I will be getting into my little video about whether or not Dark Horse Dubois can upset AJ. That is coming. I still haven't had my answers as to this push for 54, or is Boots going to go ahead and run D Block? We heard about Mario Barrios. You know what I'm saying? People starting to come around to the truth. Oh, what's going on, Chris? C-Dub, what's going on, C-Dub?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
I wanted to ask you, why you said your top 10, so I wanted to know why you have Bud and how you measure in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you have Bud at number 1, you got Inoue. You have Tank at 3. I just want to know, how you grade, I guess grade or you list your pound and pound.
Well, this list right here, like I said, I did this list in December of last year. This was December 27th of 2023. So I really put this up here because this was the list I put out as of December 27th of 2023. You see what I'm saying? Compared to what they have now, and it's only one. I don't have Beterbiev on there, and I got Spence on there, and I don't do heavyweights. Otherwise, the list is the exact same. That's what I was trying to say. Like, people going to figure out how they want to move these around. Now, I just put Spence on there because I was like, man, well, my logic behind how Spence got at number 9, I'll start like that. Well, let me start from the bottom. The reason why Canelo at number 10 is because he really wouldn't be on there. He really wouldn't be on there because he popped hot before. And I normally don't put people that pop hot on there. But I said, man, at some point in time, if I say, okay, when it comes to David Benavidez, you got to let bygones be bygones, then at some point you got to let bygones be bygones with whoever. And if they calling him in the face of boxing, he's still doing this. I can't deny the people that he shared the ring with. I mean, I have to at least put him in number 10. That's why he even made it on there. I used to didn't even put him on there, but I used to not even do a list. So that's how Canelo got at number 10. Spence got on there. He got on there at number 9. I said, hold on, man. A lot of people are saying Bud is number 1 because they said that when he beat Spence at that point, that made Bud number 1. I said, well, hold on. If Bud said before the Kell Brook fight that he really didn't have the names, and after that all he had was this was like a couple days before the Kell Brook fight, and all he had was Kell Brook, Sean Porter, Albanesian, and then he fought Spence. I was like, Spence got to be on there. We got to put him on the tail end. So
That makes sense.
a little bit of me being, you know what I'm saying, a Spence guy, and me saying, well, hold on, man, if they're gonna put him up there, Bam is just skills. You know what I'm saying? Bam could go anywhere, but some people may say it may be premature, but since then you actually seen what he's able to do with the legend Estrada. You seen Bam at work. Shakur, Ben thought Shakur had pound for pound skills. Shakur is I don't know if I did a list now if he would be at that spot. I don't know if T.O. would be at that spot, but then I had to recognize what T.O. was able to do. T.O. did what Devin Haney did before Devin Haney did it. He moved up, he beat Josh Taylor, and he's seeking the smoke with Bud. So at least on activity, his history shows that he will get in the ring with these guys, and when he do, he show up and show out. Not that I think he could beat Bud. That's why he got there at number 6. He was just throwing on there. I rock with Bivol. Benavidez, you gotta be a bad man when people like Canelo won't fight you. When people like Canelo won't fight you, they refuse to fight you. I mean, and he's shown that, he probably can do it, in my opinion. So so if they were to fight at 168, I think he would beat Canelo. That's just how I feel. Bivol, I mean, we seen what he did to Canelo. Tank, for real, Tank would really be at number 1, but for me and the fighting skill, like the talent, him showing that I don't care whatever kind of way I gotta fight. Between him and Bud, I think they can do everything in the ring. And again, C-Dub. Oh, anyway, is a monster. What can you say to a guy that's in his 5th weight class? He undisputed in back-to-back, and he still ain't done yet. He won't even give him credit now. He is a smaller guy, but him and Tank are the same size. He's just not fighting at 135. But with Bud, reason why I have to keep him at number 1 right now, I mean, I wouldn't argue with anybody having him at number 1 right now. And why I had him at number 1, one of the other reasons why I had him at number 1 on December the 27th of 2023 is because I believe Bud is almost like the exception to the rule as far as the resume thing go. It's very seldom that you can look at somebody and say, oh man, like we were saying in the definition of pound for pound, like the names and were they 50-50 and this and this and that. I believe that Bud is the exception to that. Because if you look at his resume, you be like, dang man, all he had. Well, you can look at somebody, you can look at every one of them guys that he fought. Well, most of them. You can look at them and going into it, or the history of that fighter going into it, you can say something's wrong. Or something was going on. You can say that. Well, Bud, I kind of just think, and he's kind of showing me that if something inside of Bud, it kind of like don't matter. It really wouldn't matter. You know, and that's why I've been going back. I've been looking at his fights. I went back and looked and seen what he did to John Molina and how he did it. I went and looked and seen what he did to what's his name? Diaz. Felix Diaz, and how he did it. And I just been going back and just looking at, okay, he can do everything. It's like what Roy Jones was saying. He said the reason why he knew that Bud could beat Spence and he knew he was going to do it in the manner in which he did it. He said, because I've grown and watched this guy do everything. He said, I've seen him in every different thing. He said, now look at Spence, he could just do this one thing. Now, if he allows Spence to just do that one thing and he don't use his skills, it can be, it can be a different ball game. He said, but I've seen this guy do everything. And I go back and I look at Bud, and the dude does everything, man. He can do everything in there if he has to. I mean, I used to get on him about some of the political moves and some of the things, why he didn't take this fight and poke holes into some of the reasoning and all that. But if I looked at pound for pound, skill for skill, these are the names that's in my top 10. You can scramble the order or whatever, but it's going pretty much them top 5 with the exception of maybe Bivol. Maybe if I want to pull out if you want to pull out if you want to pull out Benavidez and then put somebody else, the top 5, whether that's the order or not, I don't know, but my top 5 probably wouldn't change with the exception of Benavidez. He just kind of made it might be somebody else.
I hear you. I see. I like when you talk about the ducking aspect of it, because Canelo he does a lot of that, so he wouldn't be in my top 10 at all. So I don't allow all that ducking in my top 10. You right about Bud. He does everything. He's my number 1 pound to pound fighter in the world.
Salute Al Money. Go ahead, C-Dub.
What's up, Al Money? I know who that is. Anyway, he's a really small guy, so he'll be maybe down on mine. So Bivol's good. He's a good boxer. Benavidez is good. And Shakur, he is my guy. So I would have put him a little higher. I might put him like at 5. Like, you know what I mean? Body work, because he's my guy. I like how he boxes and everything like that. And I like what he does in the ring. I don't think he's boring. I don't think he's I don't care what he does out of the ring. It's all about what he does in the ring. So, and then right behind him would be Tank. I believe Tank. I like Tank as a fighter, but I just think Shakur got a better IQ than him. So that's just me, because I think he rely on his power too much, So, and we talking boxing, right?
Yeah.
So, those two will be neck to neck. That's basically what I'm saying. So, Till, he would not be in my top 10. He's getting worse and worse. So he'll be out of there. Him and Canelo will be out of there. Bam is looking very good for sure. And if I did put Spence in there, I'll put Spence in there because he only lost 1 fight and he was number 3, I think, last year. And he lost to the best fighter in the world. So that's how I look at it.
I can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? One of the things is like let me address pound for pound. Where's Usyk on the list? And I'm gonna get right to you, C-Dub. Where's Usyk in the pound for pound? I stated that I don't put heavyweights on mine. I mean, I don't put heavyweights. I don't put heavyweights on the list. And Beterbiev, I said that I wouldn't argue with nobody who had Beterbiev. Like if you wanted to pull out Benavidez and put Beterbiev in there, I wouldn't argue with anybody. It's just for me personally, I've seen Beterbiev being outboxed before by somebody like who was that, Marcus Brown, and he just turned it up. And Marcus Brown, man, I can't gauge what kind of fighter he was at that time, but that could have been a lot different. Salute AC, welcome aboard. But for C-Dub, what I was going to finish off with what I was saying about the IQ is oftentimes we can't really, well, I can give you an example of we can play the IQ game and say, okay, this boxer's IQ is higher or more than this. For me, and if you notice, there's somebody up here that a lot of people are gonna probably say, oh, why is this guy not on the pound for pound? And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say because whenever that guy fights, he pretty much has all the advantages. So I haven't seen one of these guys. I haven't seen number 7 in too many fights where he didn't have all the advantages. I've seen the one who I have number 3 at a disadvantage pretty much all the time, other than probably you can reason power, but when you moving up in weight and you fighting guys like the size difference and all that, it's like you were able to do something that somebody at a weight class above wasn't able to do. So I've seen this fighter that had him and Inoue are the same exact dimension, same height, same reach. Different body build because one's Asian and one's black. But you see Tanks went up to 140 and they wanted him to fight Conor Benn at 47. And it was no problem. Bud said, hey, if you want to come up here, you can come up here for it. Bud was going to wait. People don't remember when he said that. I'll wait for him if I got a glass jaw. And then Tank was like, I was just playing about that. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. And they wrote it off. But we've seen Fighter 3 at way more disadvantages and him figure out a way to get the job done. I haven't seen the lower my list goes down between T.O. and his ups and downs, Bam and him kind of coming on the scene. You know, us not knowing what Spence is, and then the fact that Canelo just made it because I kind of had to just put him on there. But the later end of my list, that's why I say my top 5 is pretty much locked in. If somebody want to slide somebody else in there with Benavidez and spin it around, I wouldn't argue. But I made this list back in December of 2023. What's up, AC?
What's good, bro?
What's on your mind, bro?
Just listening to you chop it up and shit like that. Basically, now that you gave the list context, you know what I'm saying? It makes sense of why you put certain people there. But for me, I would have added Usyk because Usyk started out at a lower division. You feel what I'm saying? And he moved up to heavyweight. So for me, whether you talk about stylistically when he was at the lower weight, or if you're going to talk actual fighting at different weight classes, those are how I tend to look at the whole pound for pound list. You feel what I'm saying? So when I look at Usyk, I give him the point of actually doing it, and stylistically, his style can move up or down. If you had his style in, you would be a problem. You feel what I'm saying? So just with that metrics right there, I don't I'd probably say it'd probably come down to, even though I hate to put a guy I'm really big on, Benavidez, between Benavidez and Tio being replaced with Usyk. You feel what I'm saying? Because at the other weight class, it's like I still got to see a little bit more from Benavidez. I like the way he looked in his last fight, but it did pose questions for me that I'm like, well, listen, I don't think you, just on that last performance at 75, I would probably be leaning to the winner of you versus, you versus either one of the winners of Bivol or Beterbiev. I would lean towards one of them beating you more than you beating them. So, now that you got all of this crazy shit in the mix, I would be calling for a Yardy fight, and that would say, okay, that's a good ass name. Dude got a lot of dog in him. He put up a good fight with two legends of that weight class. So, hey, listen, it is what it is. Let me see that fight, and then I could really make that determination of you being a solid 175 pounder, although body wise you're a solid 175 pounder. So that would be my only contention.
Yeah, I can see it.
Go ahead.
I can see it. Yeah, I just don't put. I just say, man, I feel like when people put heavyweight on there, they just taking up a spot for somebody.
Yeah. No, I would never put a natural heavyweight there, but you.
Yeah, I don't argue with it though. I don't argue with it. You got Usyk on there like my man pound for pound right here. His list. His list is pretty much my list, except for he got Usyk on there, and I got.
Yeah, and that's where
I got Spence on there. He got Beterbiev on there, and I got Bam on there, but it's the same list. So with the exception of two names coming off,
we all
going on, it's still the same. You know what I'm saying?
We all gonna pick the like mine is extremely close to pound for pound's list. You feel what I'm saying?
And he looked like he got an order. Like his look like it's an order. Like he got that order like that.
Like his top five is. With the exception of Tank fitting up in that top five, I would, that's where I would kind of have it, because my only where I would want to put Beterbiev, but it would stop me is I'm not sure if Beterbiev only fought at 75. I would have to research that. And if he only fought at 75, then he goes into the stylistic category, which then stylistically, if you went up and down, I could easily pick fighters that beat you. You feel what I'm saying? That would beat your style. So Beterbiev is like he's the weird one. You feel what I'm saying? Because he's so dominant at 75, you got to say, well, at another weight class, he could possibly do the same thing. I'm not doubting that he wouldn't get a belt. What I'm doubting is that at that elite level, does his style beat an Inoue style? Does it beat a Terrence Crawford style? You feel what I'm saying? Could Tio pull it off against a puncher like that? You feel me? Because sometimes Tio fights to the level of his competition. So let's just say him and Beterbiev are at 140. Does Tio beat him? So it's just stuff like that makes me think.
I got you, man. I gotta add.
What's good, bro?
Man, I haven't talked to you, so I apologize what I said a long time ago, man. Let's be bygones and bygones, man.
I don't remember what it is. If it wasn't something that I actually took serious.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure we're on a good page, man.
Yeah. I don't hold any grudges like that to anything someone says to me or online or whatever. Some days you may not just be in a good mood and stuff like that. And I may have said something that you just like, the fuck is this dude talking about?
I did, but but I'm done with it, so it's over. So
That's
No.
good. That's good. Like, man, look, man, me and AC, we get it in, and that's I think why we'll go. We didn't win that. You know what I'm saying? It just happened in boxing, man. As long as we can come back around and still be level headed and be like, you know what, and all this shit, I learned some shit. I understand this person. We just be frustrated, so it happens, man. Ain't no
like
AC
like-
cool. You know what I'm saying?
like you pointed out to me. Yeah, I didn't even realize it about myself when I talk about boxing a lot. I out of 100%, 75 to 80%, you're gonna see me rock with the underdog. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm gonna try to rationalize how the underdog is gonna win, whether you agree with me or not. I'm still gonna try to find some weird ass way to rationalize it, even though all the stats and everything else says, you know what, AC, fall back, because there is no fucking way this guy is gonna win.
You know why? You know why I noticed that about you? Because I'm like that. And the way to gauge that is when you don't know two fighters, and you look at like the first or second round, and they and one side be talking about the one side like they so great. It's like you have that inherent nature in you to be like, well, I'm pulling for the guy that they going against. It's just something that's in us. It's just that when you done your research and you have your justification, it's just like the example. I hate to keep going back to this, the example about Laura and Danny. It was just like, listen, that's why I pulled that whole segment, because I didn't want people to think it was disrespectful to Danny. But I'm like, man, just based on what I like, if everything is the way it is, like based on what I know, I knew that was gonna happen, and I said I'm not gonna do that out of respect for Danny. You know what I'm saying? Because people gonna call you a hater because he ain't never been stopped, and it's just something. It's just like, look, man, I'm pulling for him too. Like if he do pull it off, I'm pulling for him too. Like I don't want none of them to lose, but somebody got to do it.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It's just when you know how to stack, how the chips are stacked, and me, you know what my focus been. If a ball getting in the goal or not, or at the end of the day, what's all like? Did we have a great experience? But what happened at it? Was it a fish in the cooler? So once I did that, it allowed me to remove my emotions from all that, right?
Yeah.
When I look at everything, I'm analyzing it from like, yeah, I want this to happen, but realistically, because of the business and how this is what's supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? Just we pulling for, just like Edgar Berlanga. Secretly, we were pulling for Edgar Berlanga. Well, you was straight up, but I was secretly saying, yeah, I was just saying, look, man, the odds he's a plus 900 money line. He's a plus 1800 KO or TKO. He's a plus 2100 decision. Like the bookies don't think, you know what I'm saying? So by that, you know what I'm saying, even though we're pulling for him, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The betting line on that one was primo. You feel what I'm saying? Even though my guy lost, I still walked away with a nice little penny. You feel what I'm saying? So even though you lost, we all still won.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, that's a good sound investment in an underdog right there, because it paid off.
Body work, you know, I told you it wasn't be no knock. I mean, nobody's knocking nobody out, and they going 12. But what tripped me out was when he was talking about at the end, Ager, he was talking about God's king, and then he started telling him that Canelo was the king. I didn't understand all that, man. I was confused, man.
Them boxers be getting emotional, man. Like, think about AJ when he had his breakdown after the Usyk, man. Like, at that point in time, you got, you know what I'm saying, 10s and 20s and millions of people looking at you, and you're dealing with that where you just went through head trauma, you lost, you know what I'm saying? You got everything just at your feet. They be having breakdowns. So when they shove that mic in, you ain't no telling what you want to get. And Berlanga, at the end, I ain't gonna lie, at the end, Berlanga kind of gave me the feeling like he was so relieved, like that he ain't get his lights put out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
At the end of the day, he was relieved that he ain't get, you know what I'm saying, get his TV turned off.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. You could tell in that post fight interview that, you know, that's where his mind was mostly at. He was like, from my experience level, and I think he realized this, he was like, when I got in the ring with this dude and he cracked me in the third round and sat me down, I immediately thought back to that first fight where he went into the gym and the little short Mexican dude put paws on him. You feel what I'm saying? So he realized that, yeah, this is that situation all over again, to whereas I'm completely outclassed. But I know what to do a little bit, so that's what I can do real well. And it's that little bit. I'm gonna put my heart into all of that. And I think that's what he realized after the fact, like, yeah, this dude is a lot better than what all of what the internet says about him. When you win there, it's different. You feel what I'm saying? And he came to that. He kept on coming to that self realization that, yeah, what I saw on film in the film study, that's one thing, but this nigga's different. He don't
I
look
got
like he does a lot, but it's a lot.
a body work and AC. I have a question. Do you guys think Canelo carried Berlanga? Or my opinion, I thought that he's limited nowadays because you know his slow feet, his reflexes. I wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
You want to go first,
Hello?
AC?
Well,
You want to go?
it'll go back to the same thing. I think you was in the chat on that show, to whereas this is the type of, it's like a strategic cherry pick. You're picking the guy who you're gonna say, all right, if you do well within your next 3 fights, you get to take my spot, and for the rest
No,
of
he
my
said carry, not cherry.
oh
Carry.
carry. Oh, do I think he carried him in
Yeah.
the fight? I'm not sure. I can't honestly answer that question. I'm not sure. Um, to me, it looked like Berlanga fought his fight. Did it look like Canelo could take him out at any point by just turning up that pressure a little bit more? Probably. But it's just one of those things when you know the great fighters, you know, maybe part of a bigger plot. So I'm not gonna crush the nigga. I'm just gonna, beat him up a little bit.
Well, my honest assessment. It's my honest assessment. I believe that during the times where Canelo felt froggy, Berlanga did just enough to make him like not sell out. Because you can say what you want, he was popping that jab, and that's
Yeah.
still a big dude with a you know what I'm saying, a stiff jab. Even if he ain't throwing it 100, that's still a big ass dude putting bugs on the windshield, like hitting you in the temple over and over again. I think that it was times where Canelo was froggy, and he might get one off, and then Berlanga say, man, fuck that, and then he'll, you know what I'm saying, he'll jab, and then try to throw something, and it might not have. It was just enough. It was just enough to where it's like, yeah, I don't want to get. I was thinking, man, Canelo was like, yeah, I don't want to get caught by one of them dudes. This dude get too confident.
See, yeah, that's why it's probably I probably couldn't find the words to say it like that, but that's pretty much how I kind of felt. It was like, could have Canelo put it on, maybe, but then Berlanga kept on catching him with that 1-2. Whenever Canelo would catch him with a big shot, and he catch Canelo on the way out, boom, boom, with that 1-2. So he did have a little something to bring to the table. You feel what I'm saying? But honestly, it's a hard one for me to call.
I say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, he carried Munguia. I don't think he carried Berlanga. I think if he could have put Berlanga out, he would have, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know,
I think
I definitely agree with you about Munguia, though. That you could visibly see that one.
What you say, C-Dub?
I think he limited. I don't think he's that tight like he used to be. I think he's slowing down. So that's what I think. I don't think he carried them at all. Like you guys said, that Agar was using that jab on him the whole night. He did good first 2 rounds using that jab. He got caught in the third, and he just said fuck it. So he went on. But
he made a business decision. But then it was like at one point, I think it was around about the 10th. I just said, man, like Edgar. I was saying Edgar, man. In my mind, I was like, man, look, you done lasted this long. If you can throw any punches, if you just pretty much just press them, like commit to something, sit down on something, like commit to hitting them, like counter him, wait till he throws a little whatever, sit down on some stuff and let your hands go. Just give him whatever you got, hard as you can. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to, and it was just like, I think he had got caught one enough times where it's like, man, I made it this far. I don't want to get knocked out late, or I don't want to get stunned with too much clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at that point, it was what they call it, the war of attrition.
Yeah,
You know
I think it was those. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And Canelo was chipping away at his arms, his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? He was catching them, and it was almost like making him look a little more silly than anything. But Berlanga was active enough to where he made a good account of himself. That's why I say that when I watch that fight, I say that, listen, I don't typically give moral victories, but I'll give Berlanga a moral victory. Now, as far as like having a parade and saying you're the king of New York, slow down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we got to see what you do.
Yeah, after this.
You know.
But this is why I was going to say this. It was like that big shot he took in the 6th and the other big shot he took in the 8th. That's the part where, Berlanga was like, I could try to build up momentum and I'm going to try this. And you know what I'm saying? Then I threw this punch to get ready to set him up and boom. Oh, shit, he caught me with that. So let's scratch that plan. Let's just go back to, the basics. Mm-hmm. Then coming in that 8th round, you got off your little what's the name, and then Canelo comes right back. Boom, boom, catches you with 2 hell of a good shots. And you just like, nah, It's the 8th round. I'm not getting stopped. You feel what I'm saying? And I think in that 8th round, after he got caught and it backed him up against the rope, and Canelo went on that little flurry while it was on the ropes, but he didn't do a lot of damage. It was just like it looked bad. Berlanga was like, "Yeah, I'm not going out like that." I think that's the point when he actually, became a company man.
Yeah, he made a business decision.
He said, "Listen, I'll take the offer. I'll sign the contract, and we can start with escrow as soon as possible." You know what I'm saying? 7-day closing on this deal right here because it's done. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me read this real quick. And you can keep going. Hold on, let me read this and you can keep going.
I thought Berlanga was really going to come out and just sell out, going into the 10th, because at the end of the 9th, he was doing well. You feel what I'm saying? He was making an excellent account of himself. And in that 9th round, he was catching Canelo with that jab and that 1-2 a couple of times and shit like that. And it was like, okay, all right. Now just turn it up just a little bit. And between the 10th, 11th, and 12th, that's what I was looking for. I'm like, Berlanga, he slowed down a little bit. All you got to do is just put the pressure on him. Let's go. Be first. And it was just like he already signed that contract, and he was like, I don't need to be first. All I need to do at this particular point is make a good account of myself in these championship rounds, and I'm going to do just enough to do that. And it was just like,
Yeah, let me read this, AC. Berlanga, pound for pound, say Berlanga and Plant / Munguia, the fight to make. Canelo slowing, but Edgar better than people thought. And he a big boy too. What y'all think about that?
Agar, he don't have the boxing skills to me, like what I like. So he's good, but like when he had that 17 knockout streak, I think he had, or 16 is one
Yeah.
or the other. Yeah, he was very good. You know, he was doing push-ups in the in the ring and everything. He a big boy, but to me, he just don't have those boxing skills like, you know, like a Terrence Crawford, Tank, Shakur. You know, I don't see him, you know, beating Plant. Nah, I don't. No, I like Plant's skills better than Ager. So
Let me
I
ask you a
believe
question. This gonna tell me everything. Do you know who Steven So Cold Nelson is? C-Dub?
yeah, that's Terrence Crawford friend, but he's a boxer at 168.
So
And he's pretty good. He's like under Terrence Crawford's undercard, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So how would he fare against Edgar?
He'll beat him. He'll beat him.
Pound for pound. Is that true? Cause yeah, I brought So Cold up for a reason, man. Is that true, pound for pound?
You
What
talking to
you
me?
think,
now?
AC?
It'll be a hell of a fight, bro. That's a fight that I would love to see. You feel what I'm saying?
He'll beat him.
Who do I give the slight edge to in that one? I might, at this point, like I said, I gotta see what Berlanga does after this. You feel what I'm saying? So Cold has the ability, has the luxury of being Terrence Crawford's sparring partner, of always being in the ring, and they get, you know, both of these dudes are competitive, you know, when they're in the ring together. Berlanga doesn't have that. Berlanga doesn't have that. So for Berlanga, he's got to prove it in the actual fights. So Cold is getting all kind of insider information. So technically and shit like that, my money would be on So Cold. You feel what I'm saying? I probably would say So Cold's gonna win that fight because who he trains with and everything like that. But as far as the actual fight, Berlanga get in there with either Munguia or somebody and show us that, you know, you really that guy and you could really step it up and compete on that level. And you and So Cold are easily a main card, undercard fight. Third one from the top. You feel what I'm saying? So you had a co-main and then you're the fight right before the co-main.
And C-Dub, look at what pound for pound say. Plant got buzzed 2 or 3 times by Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. Edgar touches that chin, he definitely gonna froze. But I guess this is what he's saying, and this is a factor. Is it the fact that you think, like, because he's pretty much saying Edgar got the eraser, like, so Caleb, he could do this and that, but you see how Trevor was able to touch him. You think Edgar got enough of an eraser for Caleb?
Yeah, I think so.
What about you, C-Dub?
I don't think so. I like Caleb Plant. I think he's a good boxer, and he only lost. I mean, he lost to a couple guys, but you know, Canelo and David. But he's a boxer, man. He'll figure it out. He made a good adjustments his last fighter, so.
Okay, so let's say, okay, so a guy like a McCumbee from Pro Box, he that's where he got his bones. He come up, he get a Caleb Plant. What about a So Cold and a Caleb Plant?
That's kind of tough now for me. So I think it'll be a good fight, though. I think it'll go 12 rounds.
Because listen, this is what I'm getting at, y'all. We can put all the pressure we want for Munguia to fight Caleb Plant. I don't know if Munguia will get in there now. He got Basinian problems. We're gonna see 2 nights from now. We actually gonna see who Munguia is against this dude Basinian, because Basinian talking about Eric Basinian. He talking about knocking him out. Now he got a 71% knockout rate, but Munguia just coming off of getting thumped on by Canelo, and Munguia said no way Canelo carried this, even though that's what my eyeball said. But this is what I'm getting at, like for the pound, like for people like pound for pound in here. I don't know if Munguia gonna fight these guys, man. I don't know. Will Munguia fight Edgar? Will Munguia fight Plant? I don't know. The dude got 43 fight. I think he about to be. This is 44 fight or something.
Yeah.
He just now got Canelo.
Like if Munguia was smart, he would make these fights because then that puts you in what would be like the 3 kings or 4 kings of that division category. You feel what I'm saying? And this is why I was saying where you know, even though it was off for the question, this is why I feel Berlanga's going to move into that spot. And then everybody's going to genuinely accept, all right, Canelo's that guy. He can do what the fuck he want to do. Stop worrying about him. These other guys, he's already did he's already did what he was supposed to do in that division. He's undisputed. You feel what I'm saying? He's fought, you know, some of the hardest competition, with the exception of 2 fights. That's the Benavidez and what's the name fight. So at the end of the day, he's pretty much done what he's gonna do.
I've accepted it. You know, I'm not gonna go out of my way to just crap on Canelo because I was doing it and it didn't gain me no fanfare. There's so many people that probably rock with me, but the fact that I said something bad about their,
I accepted it.
their lovely ginger, gingerbread man. You know, I'm forever in the dungeon with that. You know.
I've accepted it. I've accepted it since the basically the Caleb Plant fight, and it's just like, all right, he's looking for the replacement. If it's him and David Benavidez, they get in the ring, and David Benavidez, makes himself extremely marketable like that, then okay, cool. But you gotta be camera friendly. You gotta be investment friendly. You gotta have you gotta have that next thing. You feel what I'm saying? Does these guys that he's currently fighting now do that? No. Berlanga showed, I could be that guy. So he's gonna move into that position at 68, and at the end of the day, Canelo does what the fuck he wants. So now the rest of you guys fight each other, and get that whole thing going, so you guys could have these constant round robins of I beat him, and then he beat him, and then now we fought the winner of both of those fought each other, and now the loser gets to fight the up and coming guy who's trying to get in the mix, and then now you added one more flavor to that batter that you guys should be trying to make. It's like making blueberry pancakes. Who's gonna be the vanilla? Who's gonna be the eggs? Who's gonna be the blueberries? You feel what I'm saying? It's what you gonna add into the batter that's gonna make it taste good and everybody gonna accept it, or it's gonna taste fucked up and everybody gonna complain.
Yeah, he said Caleb got the good for sure, but he had to go on the inside to beat Trevor. But he don't know how to fight or swing on the inside like Edgar.
Exactly. So this is why it all makes like pound for pound. You're killing it right now. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm in a lot of agreement with what you're saying. And at the end of the day, it's just like, this is why now these guys need to be fighting each other. It's what we thought was going to happen at 35 when Shakur, Dev, Tank, and Loma was there. Don't fuck that up. We thought it was going to be like that at 140, but 140 had their little division thing, and who was that? Josh Kelly, right? Am I saying the right Josh?
What at 140?
Yeah.
Who
wound up being undisputed in lineal? That TOB.
Taylor.
Oh, Josh Taylor. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to, because I know there's a couple of Joshes out there. You feel what I'm saying? So Josh Taylor winds up winning the tournament style or whatever at 140, but then you get a whole new mix. Now you got why am I brain farting right now? You got Paro, Puello, you also got Rayo. You feel what I'm saying? All of these guys now add new flavor into the batter, so all these guys should be getting it on, and we shouldn't have all these long ass pauses and shit like that. So Listen, boxing is real exciting. I don't know what people saying about whatever about it's dry right now. It's real exciting if you just looking at what's going on overall. Boxing moves like a slow moving train. You feel what I'm saying? You got to remember what happened last month, last 6 months, last year, and tie that into what's happening now and what's not happening now. Going back to that, going back to that great video, you know that Body just did, talking about what the hell's going on with Boots. Why are we attacking each other when we should be unified and talking about the things that actually matter? Why aren't these guys fighting each other?
Hey, AT,
Yeah.
who you want to see fight, man?
Who do I want to see fight?
Yeah, I'm talking about like just across the board, to 135 to 168. Who you want to see fight?
I want to see Tank and Shakur fight at 135. You feel what I'm saying? I would love this. I would have loved to seen the Brian Norman versus Boots. However, that would have turned out. You feel what I'm saying? Because I have no definitive winner in that fight. You feel what I'm saying? Because neither one of them up to yet really gave us a 50-50 fight. So even though both of you got elevated to your belts, that's what I'd like to see. Going up to 54, 54 is just too many fights you would want to see. I want to see if actually the Errol Spence and Fundora fight actually gets made. You feel what I'm saying? I'd love Errol to come back, but I think where he makes his mark truly for me, where he comes back, is at 160. You feel what I'm saying? At 60, you got some names. You know what I'm saying? I want to see. If I'm correct in Hamza Shiraz's weight class, I want to see this fight bad that Hamza got coming up, because it's really gonna let me know, is he really that guy? You feel what I'm saying? 68.
Okay.
68. You feel what I'm saying? It's all the fights that I want to see are the fights that the true boxing fans, and even some casuals are asking to see. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to get them. You feel what I'm saying?
But
Yeah.
But hey, see, this is my thing, though, man. I'm gonna see a lot of fights too. I want to see a lot of fights too. But my thing is, I don't want to wait another 5 years to see all the fights that I want to see. That's my thing.
Mine too.
It's kind of slow. It's kind of slow boxing right now. There ain't a lot of stuff happening. I don't want to talk about the other guy, but that's my thing about boxing right now. So, but what you think about it, Body Work?
You right. You right. Me, I said this what I've been on, man. And let me see. He said Boots need to fight Thurman. Thurman act like he didn't know. When they first asked Thurman about him, they said he act like he didn't know him. I said, come on, man. Like you a sports analyst. You don't know who Boots is, and you in the welterweight division. It's like Keith. Stop it, man. But what I see, look, this is what I think, man. This is what I think. And they say a picture worth 1,000 words. I think that they do a lot of this with us. They do a lot of this divide and conquer, where they'll put, like I said, they'll put the Normans against the Ennises, father and son, Philly and Atlanta. They'll put them against each other. They'll put Coach and basically father and Tank with Calvin, and Wally and Shakur. They'll put them against each other, and we don't get none of them. But we create enough division amongst us that whenever one of them is mentioned, like right now, if you mention Norman, they go, "Oh man, he should have just did this." I'm like, okay, cool. He should have just did this. But when we look at the big picture, and what may have happened, where you might wind up having to pay Quran more money because it's like the rabbit got the gun. It's like you let this other dude win the purse bid. So yeah, you won. Like, so in the battle, yeah, you won the battle in public perception, but did you really? Because Braun Norman gets to go and defend himself on the belt of a Keyshawn Davis card. That's another check. That's a title defense. If he looks spectacular, the narrative is going to be written on that based on how he looks and what he does, because he wasn't expected to win. But then when you look at Boots, he didn't win the purse bid. So you didn't get that fight, a homecoming fight. If you'd have put a little extra on it, you would have got some special delivery, a unification, which is what you need going forward. If they're going to keep lowballing people, or if they're just not going to give an exorbitant amount of money for you to fight another guy, then that's not in your best interest. You can laugh and joke and say, ha, he ducked me, but that's not going to do anything for you if you're not getting the fights you need. So if you do this push to 154, you're going up there without an accolade, because I say this over and over again. People are going to want to get some money to fight Boots, man. We're not in the yesteryear where somebody just going to be like, shit, I'll take it. And the people that's saying, shit, I'll take it for next to nothing, just give me a full training camp. You don't want to do that. So he's in a purgatory right now, but they were so great at the divide and conquer that they got us splintered to where we're not focusing on the fact that this man might have to go fight in Germany. If he don't, he's gonna have to pop that belt up off of him. The people up there at 154, if you go up there, they're gonna be like, well, what do you have to offer? Because you don't have the accolade. Yeah, you had got a belt, but it's a negative connotation to you having that belt. Eddie need to sprinkle something on it, get this man an opponent. You know what I'm saying? Because he's on the verge of the thing not happening in Philly. You know what I'm saying? And I asked, if it winds up being that Eddie Hearn has to pay more money to Karan, which would have been the equivalent of the little extra that he would have gave to Norman for a unification, or enough to actually win the purse bid and still have the fight in Philly and at least build on the $15K that you had in Wells Fargo Center the last time. It's just like I be connecting the dots and painting the pictures in a matter where, look, I'm not trying to get too high or too low. I'm stop trying to cuss my brother out over foolishness, when at the end of the day, we all get played and we're not keeping our eye on a bouncing ball.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
An old saying I always say that I try to live by right now. Don't throw out the good or the great for the perfect. Just because the situation, just because shit ain't lined up perfectly, that don't mean it ain't good. And half the time, real good opportunities are like sitting next to the homeless nigga on the subway, because they stink. They always come at the wrong time, and half the time when you're not even in the mood for it. When you really look at all the great opportunities, people always say, "Damn, it's a great opportunity, but I just started doing this," or I just found the love of my life, or my wife is, me and my wife, are getting ready to have our first baby, and all of this other crazy shit. So the great opportunities don't come when you really, really want it. So, you got to make those tough decisions, and that's why it says, when you have the bigger the opportunity, the greater the decision has to be made. So when Boots is looking at, all right, I need the accolades, right? Versus me just going up to 54 and thinking that my name is gonna bring me there, fucking around with Eddie Hearns. They're not saying that the Sheik is behind you for every one of your fights. He's only doing that with one fighter, or basically two, and that's AJ and fucking Terrence Crawford. You feel what I'm saying? So outside of that, the rest of you niggas, regardless of who you are, y'all got to bring something to the table for Sheik to sprinkle a little bit of that sugar daddy money on your fight to help make the fight. Eddie Hearn, you dropped the ball because you're gonna wind up. It's a lose-lose situation you're in right now, because you can't put the fight in Philly because you have no leverage. The card has to be mega stacked at this point for that fight to make sense in Philly with you and Kukuchan as the main event. So you're gonna pay a hell of a lot of money outside of what you could have just paid if you put in the money to keep Brian Norman or you went after the purse bid. You threw out the good and the great for the perfect situation for Jerron, and now you ain't got shit happening for this dude. He's about to. He looking like he might be in a position where he's gonna lose that belt. So at the end of the day, somebody explain it to me because I can't call it.
My pound for pound say he need to go to 54 and keep pressing Bud. I don't think Bud. To me, I don't think Bud gonna fight him, man. And I don't think Boots, because somebody said that you got to get disrespectful. Like Bud, he got to basically call Bud out his name to get it. And I don't even think Boots gonna do nothing like that to get the fight, man. So I don't think Bud's gonna fight him, man. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would say the only way Bud fights Jerron Boots, and this if we get the Canelo fight and he say, you know what, I'll give y'all the Boots fight. This one on me. I'll put the promotion together, shit like that. Me and Jerron will put our little promotional together along with Eddie Hearns, and we'll just make this joint. And we either do it in Nebraska or I'll give you props to beat your ass in your home crowd. So that's the only way I really think it happens. You feel what I'm saying? I think he's gonna give us the Boots fight if he gets the Canelo fight. If we don't get that Canelo fight, forget about this Boots fight.
Hey, see, I don't see it happening with Canelo, man, with Terrence Crawford, man. I just think Canelo's like, man, these easy fights. I'm making good money with these easy fights, and Terrence Crawford, he's just a big risk, man. That's how I look at it right now. So, but hey, maybe if Boots call him a bitch and you ain't nothing and whatever, I don't want to cuss, all that other stuff. So he need to be Mr. T, So
here's the thing: do you think Eddie and DAZN, just to quote Body, do you think Eddie and the DAZN is gonna put up at least 20 mil to make that Bud fight?
I don't know. I really don't like Eddie Hearns, so I don't think he ain't doing anything. He's making boxing worse to me. So
it's gonna come down to this. It's gonna come down to this. Because listen, and let me read this, but listen to this. They too focused on making the fight in Philly over making the fight against a top contender. I don't care the state, don't matter. They fighting inside the ring. And I totally agree. You cooking with hot sauce, right? But listen, this is what I keep saying, right? And this is why I say, man, we got to follow the bouncing ball and we got to see if the ball go in the hole. Because a lot of people get credit for a lot of things that they have yet to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not $40 on my dresser. You know what I'm saying? Was it $40 on my dresser? Like, you know what I'm saying? No, like, so at the end of the day, this is what I keep asking. This is what I keep asking everybody. And they get quiet when I say this. I say, if money wasn't a thing, like Jermaine Dupri and Jay-Z, then how come every opportunity where all it took was a little bit of money to get it over the hump? Why haven't we seen that be the case? That's why I say having the illusion of money. See, that's how some of the best con people get you. They make you think, and they may have some money. They may have some money, right? But they convince you that I got all of this and this and that, and you're gonna buy into it. When you look at some of the baddest con jobs done, you buy into the fact that they have this allure or whatever, they can do this and this and that, right? And then you get sucked into it. But at the end of the day, when you look back, it's like, dang, you didn't gain nothing. There was never. I can't look back at recent time where they said there was an extra little bit of money that needed to be put on the table to get one of these fights to cross the line, and we actually got it. We can talk about some stuff over the pond, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you focus in and look, when have we seen that where, like he's saying right now, Turkey or Latin will put the money up? You know what I'm saying? We got the illusion that he will because this is how we see him.
Nah, he ain't doing it like that.
But he, like the sugar daddy, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like come on, you got a sugar baby. That sugar baby gonna turn into sugar shit after about 15 minutes when ain't no sugar being sprinkled on that baby. And I don't see Sugar Daddy Sheik sprinkling no change. I just see Eddie acquiring talent. I see Eddie acquiring talent, and then we start getting fights with our talent fighting somebody from across the pond or not getting the fights because we just missed out. It's bigger than Norman and Ennis. Norman Sr. and Ennis Sr. or Bozy. It's bigger than that. This was Atlanta, Philly we just missed out on.
Yep.
By signing Shakur and doing that little funky shit that you did, we missed out on Baltimore versus Newark. Like, because you just get, like, at some point, you're getting in the way where if you were going to be a trampoline for these guys, you know what I'm saying, to jump over there and get their boost and grow some wings, it look like you're just getting in the way because you ain't putting out no money. You ain't winning no purse bid.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, we can get enamored because Edgar got that fight with Canelo, but Canelo had all of the option in that. Canelo chose him. That was almost like, dang, Eddie signed this guy at the right time because if he fought Edgar when he was with De La Hoya, he didn't want to deal with De La Hoya. He wanted Edgar. He got him through Eddie. They already had a relationship, so he got chose. Other than that, you got Ford's belt popped off of him. Ammo Williams got stopped. Like, Shakur, he was getting ready to fight Cordina, and now he laid up. And Zepeda ain't even in the bag. You got to look at whether the ball is going in the hole, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Come down to Eddie.
At the end of the day, Newark and Baltimore is a very short ride. You're talking 2 to 4 hours. Depending on where you at, you feel what I'm saying? Atlanta and Philly is also a short ride. You feel what I'm saying? Depending on whether you take 95 or 93. So at the end of the day, wherever these fights were gonna go, in my opinion, they was gonna sell. You feel what I'm saying? What the fucked up part is, again, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, is the fact that you guys keep pump faking the shit out of us. You putting these big fight carrot stick, ahead, and I think you just testing the water by saying, yeah, we were in communications with somebody. Okay, so if you were in communication with all of these people, why is no fights being made? If everybody's communicating with each other, via phone and text message and email, why are we not getting the fights that we want to see? And then we turn around and then go at each other because, oh, your guy did it because he's a duck, and oh, I ain't gonna allow you to talk about the business side of it because the business side ain't really got shit to do. It's about what the fighters want to do. Okay, but if we're gonna say the business side ain't got shit to do with it, then we can't talk about how Eddie Hearns is moving because he represents the business side. We can't talk about how some of these promotional companies just don't want to do business with each other, or the fighter doesn't want to do business with that promotional company because he had a bad outing with them. You know what I'm saying? And plus, one of the key players on that promotional company, he's in a little verbal and internet whatever type war with at the moment. So, yeah, that's the fighter and the business side. So, come on, bro.
Salute Aaron Jones. That's one of my day ones.
Yeah. So let's not just get all caught up in just, holding one narrative and not being willing to try to listen or understand, someone else's perspective. If it's legitimate, you may not have to agree with who they're picking to win the fight, but if they're telling you something that's legitimate, then just be like, you know what, I could get behind that argument, and we just got to see where time, what time does with these situations and how they'll play out, because it's always going to come down to this Shakur and Tank thing. Who's ducking? Who's ducking? Who's ducking? Everybody in the world can't be ducking this one dude.
I'm saying, I'm saying I don't think both of them ain't ducking. It's just the business input about it.
And they know that though. And see, but that's the thing. That's why I be trying to say, man. People be trying to think I be trying to sing Kumbaya or be some kind of road guard or some shit. But I be like standing in the middle of the motherfucking intersection, like, hold on, man. These motherfuckers know when they gonna fight. They just playing us.
Yeah.
They ping pong us back and forth, get us all riled up and get distracted, and we can't even focus on putting the energy and the focus on what we need. We're not saying the right thing. We're so divided that we're all pushing for all these crazy things, and it's like we go against each other. It's like, why? I had said a long time ago, it's like, look, man, I'm pulling for Shakur when he fight damn near everybody else. It's just when it come down to him and Tank, I got Tank. He would find that offensive, but I'm like, man, I don't be on no bullshit. I just be saying for skill and what I see, and that's just my opinion. That's not acceptable. You have a whole bunch of people going against you. Oh man, listen, he ain't real. He ain't. But you will get a whole fan. You will split a whole fan base by saying, "Oh man, fuck what they think," because they don't want to coddle you, right? Yeah. But the whole thing is, why are we even having this discussion? Because y'all ain't about to fight.
Yep.
If you were signed to go fight somebody else, the conversation would be you and whoever you getting ready to fight. Like it would have been. The whole conversation should have been, because I was waiting. I said, where are all the videos with Shakur versus Cordina and the breakdowns and all that? It was still about him and Tank.
Yeah.
Even before he got hurt.
Yep.
Aaron Jones say, what's up, Mike? What's going on? Aaron Jones, Shakur do not want to fight, period, bro. They will sell, but some markets want to attract big name fighters like Atlanta and Philly. You ain't going to see Canelo anyway fighting out there. Those always end up being one-sided fights. Shakur wants money. That's all we know. He probably won't win against Tank, but that's how fighters feel about him. And Boots, it's business.
I mean, it could be the business side of it as much as it wants to, but when you're letting the business of boxing keep you sitting on the sidelines to where you can't make fights and stay busy, then when is it not really the business and it's you? To me, you know, this may be a weird leap, but it's when you talk to some people about boxing, they don't know the difference between fact, opinion, and a theory. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Because they'll argue with you about a theory and then keep saying at the end of it, it's a fact.
Right.
And you're like, okay, what part of that theory is factual? Because all you got to do is look this. Yeah, but this is just a conversation everyone's having based off this theory. It's not a fact. The fact is, will these guys get in the ring? The fact is there term sheets and contracts and shit like that to be signed? You know what I'm saying? So just, because it's that of your opinion doesn't make it factual. Oh, yeah, well, I cover boxing, I'm a content creator, so everything I say is facts. Oh, the fuck, it's not.
It's not, right? It's not, it's not. But you know about how to follow up. Like, see me, I'm like, okay, I could rock with you because sometimes I like hearing people talk about people I like to hear people talk about people who I don't necessarily go for, and I respect them. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody ain't my cup of tea. You could be a good fighter, but it's just not my cup of tea. I got a southpaw bias, but then if you orthodox and you got some skills, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm noticing you're gonna land in my box at the watch because you got what I think what it takes. But you know that I even when I look at boxes, I look at advantages, I look at disadvantages, I look at are you always trying to try to vie for some kind of crazy disadvantage? Like that's unattractive to me. Like why are you? Because I'm on some predator shit, like some Highlander shit. Like it can only be like the one. Like it can only be one. You know what I'm saying? We in each other's presence. It can only be one. You know, like that's what I'm on. But even in these conversations, when people be gauging they boxers or whatever, like take for example, they said yeah his team reached out. But you know, after that, we don't know. He was over here doing such and such, so we just ain't figure. You know what I'm saying? We was waiting on an offer. So then next thing you know, you signed up to go do this, and I'm like, if the shoe was on the other foot and you were talking about this other guy, it wouldn't have let go that easy. But why this? It would have been so much. It should have been so much follow up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying on everything. It should have been so much. Like more because we do that when the shoe is on the other foot. I'm like, okay, if that's your philosophy and you rock and that's how you rock, when it comes down to your guy and you not applying that same measuring stick to it, that's when I'm gonna be like, hold on. So before you said I am gonna go do this, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. You got this set up where y'all supposed to meet over here, and this supposed to go down. And I'm reaching out to say, hey, look, man, hey, I reached out. I didn't reach out to see what you have for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, if you got the baddest broad, you know what I'm saying? If you got the baddest chick in the land and you book her, or if you give her a number and she call you, I mean, I don't think she called you to see if you had some crumpets and tea.
Yeah, like what color are your bed sheets on your bed right now? Well,
but then you go over here, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, now I'm over at the Westin. You know what I'm saying? I'm, you know, hold on, you at the Westin? Yeah, like, so what happened with such? Oh, I don't know. I was waiting for her to tell me what's going on. Like, you like, hold on, man. Like in real life, we understand that, but when it come to boxing conversation, we start acting funny, man. Like, come on, man. It needed to be a follow up. When the baddest bride, like, if it was the prom queen in house, if she was like, hey, Mike, you know what I'm saying? What's happening? I'm like, what's good? And then before I make a move, I'm gonna double back. Hey, look, I'm about to go run this play. I'm just getting back. I ain't hit back. And if you don't hit me, at least I did my due diligence. But it was too easy to accept this. Like, oh, well, you just let him be free. It's like right now, let's be honest.
Yeah. Like, where's the follow-up call? You said these people reached out to you, so when do you pick up the phone and say, yo, listen, what happened to that joint y'all reached out to me about a couple of weeks back ago? Because everybody does that, especially when you're in business. You feel what I'm saying? Someone asks me, yo, listen, I want you to be the consultant on this project. I haven't heard from them in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pick up the phone and see what's going on. Where are you at? That's because that's something I want. If I don't really want it like that, I'm going to say, yo, we waited for them. Okay, do you realize some companies want to measure your intent for whatever's going to happen by seeing if you will do the follow-up? I don't have to do the follow-up with you. I'm the money guy. I could choose anybody who the fuck I want to, but I want to see if this is what you really want, because if it's what you really want, you're going to give me the follow-up call.
AC.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I see it like, you know, I give a lot of props to Errol Spence for getting the fight. Got that fight with Terrence Crawford. I think more fighters should do that, though. That's what I think about it. But I'm not calling nobody no duck or nothing like that because they fight all their life. I don't know the business side, so I'm not going there with that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I said. I believe that they should do more of that Spence and Crawford. And then when they weigh in, shake each other's hand and say, let's get it on. A lot of these fighters ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying, AC?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you with that. It's you know, these fighters saying that they got their own promotional company. You only need a bigger promotional company to secure to secure the insurance that you're gonna have for that venue, because nobody's gonna rent you. You know what I'm saying? A large square footed or big event space without having the proper company where you can cover the insurance and the liabilities that go with that type of shit. So yeah, that's the business side. So if you know, like Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, they got together to make the fight, but then they still had to shop it. PBC, not Al Heyman, but I forgot the Tom Brown. They put that together, still up under the PBC jump off. You feel what I'm saying? Okay, all right. We could get around this, we could get around that, so we'll just go through Tom Brown promotion. So through Tom Brown, Errol Spence, you feel what I'm saying, and Terrence Crawford, yeah, this is how we gonna make this fight. You feel what I'm saying? If more fighters understood the business part like that, then they could understand their leverage in saying, all right, if you don't want to make this big fight, we'll go ahead and make the big fight on our own. And trust me, there'll be plenty of people that'll want to buy this fight. All I got to do is pay them their percentage, and I could go ahead and do what I want to do. But sometimes the language of the contract you sign will strictly prohibit you from doing that. And it could be one of your favorite fighters. And this is why, you know, you listen to people like Bud Crawford and Deontay Wilder trying to tell people, read your contract. Understand the contract you in. You feel what I'm saying? Because if you understand the contract you in, you can understand how you can really move, even when you start your own company and you build that LLC for you, not this, because just to quote Jay-Z, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. A lot of people don't understand that. I am the business. Who's the bit? Why the fuck do they come here on these events? To see me, Errol Spence, to see me, Shakur Stevenson, to see me, Tank Davis. Stop giving these niggas that ability. Don't re-sign with them if you don't have that leverage to put on one of these events yourself. And if they say, no, this is not what we can do because it's an insurance thing, you're a fucking liar. If that's not the case, then let me be able to go sign with them where they'll cover the insurance, and then I break you off your little percentage. So it's a whole level of where some people try to use that whole business of boxing. You know, you're just using it as a duck ploy, because if you who you say you are and you understand you're the independent contractor and you tell me you got a promotional company, ain't a fucking reason in the world why some of these big fights can't be made. One of you niggas don't want to fight.
Exactly. Bingo. Yes, you closed it right out, because at the end of the day, they start saying that I'm a business stuff, and I don't like. I'm with C-Dub. I'm with C-Dub on that. I don't even like getting off into that, because that's your business. But I can recognize when they're using it and they don't want to fight, and I can recognize that if they really did, there'll be certain steps that they need to take, and they would actually do those steps.
Yep.
To do it. Because when they don't do it, they're outright saying, like, when these are the steps to take to do it, and they don't do that, then outright we don't want to call it a duck. We can call it a maneuver or whatever, but we've seen it.
Yeah.
And they'll choose when it's the business, because look, me and AC, we were talking about this a minute ago, but I was saying we was on one night and I said, listen, when Frank did that deal, when Frank had Shakur on the table, and to Shakur's credit, he did go down a list, and these people were saying no. So when it came down to it, and he finally got Frank, right? And Frank, they came to him. So that mean the powers that be, that mean that people over his head had already looked at the numbers and said, okay, this is good. Like, because it wouldn't have got in you, you wouldn't have got it. And then he was the one that said, nah, I don't want it. I said, oh man, man, Frank, I rock with you, but man, I gotta say that's we don't want to call it a duck, but we're gonna have to say that that's a hell of a maneuver, because I said, because listen, up against Shakur, nobody was going to expect you to win. And I stayed, it's in my videos. I've said this time and time again. I said, going up against Shakur, nobody on paper expected you to win. So, but you had some skills to where if you just show up and show out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whatever. Nobody expect. I said, you're going to avoid that just to go get knocked out by Tank. I said, now, yeah. I said, at the time, I said it's a duck or a maneuver. I said the only thing that will cancel that out is if you got to fight with Tank. But what I said about him maneuvering from Shakur and going to go get Tank, it was still the case. So it was really the bag. But I said, man, it would have been a better look for you to fight Shakur. But he used the business. Like, nah, man, I need a little extra. And then it justified him going to go get Tank in many people's eyes.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? We see these kind of moves. We getting ready to see the remnants of something like this, to where if the Normans would have really called they bluff and did that, versus Norman going over to fight this fight on Keyshawn undercard and then seeing the remnants of what happened with Boots. We're not going to know until hindsight, but you see how people use the business when it's convenient, and fan bases argue, say, "Oh no, man, you crazy if you think that's how business goes." But at the end of the day, we're not getting the fights, is what I'll be saying. I'm like, man, I don't care what side you on, how you want to put it. We know, we see this bullshit. If two people want to fight at the end of the day,
absolutely,
they
can make it happen.
Yep, and we got 3 examples. We got 3 examples: Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Roy Jones Jr., and Bernard Hopkins, Errol Spence, and Terrence Crawford. 3 mega fights. 3 fights happened between the fighters. So it's like, come on, bro, it can happen. We've seen it already. It can happen. It's where you want to, what field you want to land that plane in. If you wanted to land it in the strategic business swerve, then okay, I'll give you credit, but you got to give me something better on the back end. Me personally, I hated the fact that Frank Martin pulled out of that fight, because I look at it like this: you go in there and you get knocked out by Tank, right? There is no real moral victory in that. You feel what I'm saying? With the exception of people trying to say, well, he won the first 5 rounds. Okay, but he still got knocked the fuck out. You feel what I'm saying? So that means nothing to me. Now, in the Shakur fight, the moral victory is you weren't going to get knocked out even if Shakur had 2 good hands. You were going to go the distance with Shakur. That's just the reality of it, in my opinion. You were going to go the distance with Shakur. Number 2, none of us knew going into the fight that Shakur had a fucked up hand. You gotta be kicking yourself, bro. Hindsight is a motherfucker, because it was the perfect storm for you to come away with the victory of beating Shakur, but you let a couple of dollars fuck that up for you, to whereas the moral victory was more on the side of the Shakur fight, not the Tank fight. You're just a laughingstock and a meme. Right at this point, when it's concerned, and
only he knows if the money was that much different. You know what I'm saying? Because,
but
say you win, you would have won a vacant belt. You know what I'm saying? Or would it go in a distance? People, you would still gonna have a certain amount of people say, "Oh man, I don't know about that fight, man." The same way they do about anything when they go to the scorecards. Because let's be honest, sometimes these judges, once they get a hold of it, they'll justify. We be like, "What? This motherfucker got knocked down twice." It's like, yeah, but. You know, they'll reason they don't know, they don't use the whole 4, so they'll they'll give it, because we've seen fights like Rashidi and Vila. If you can look at that fight and say Rashidi really won, but then it was weighted on the back end by the knockdowns right at the end, and that led people to believe that if that was a 15-round fight, probably in round 13, Vila was going to knock out Rashidi, but Rashidi realistically run the first 8 rounds.
Yeah.
The judgment was rendered, and you'll still have people saying, oh, you still have people to this day say, oh, man, I think Rashidi won that. You know,
Yeah.
you would have still had people saying, even if it would have went the distance, you'd have still had people saying, man, I think Frank really pulled that out. Because
Yeah.
remember when, you know what I'm saying? So you wouldn't have got knocked out and it was for a vacant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
but only he knows whether or not that money was worth it or not. You know what I'm saying?
And at the end of the day, it still drags me to the whole 25% debacle. Shakur, you would have got the moral victory even if the fight didn't happen by just calling Devin Haney's bluff. Don't run to the WBC to try to make it a mandatory and all of this other stuff. Just call his bluff right then and there. 25%. All right, I got you. Send me the details. Everybody, including myself, who was a huge Dev fan at the time, and was saying, "Listen, Dev cannot beat Shakur Stevenson at 135. He's going to suck himself down too much, and Shakur is coming up there. So Shakur doesn't have to drop down like that because he's moving up. Dev is dropping down, and just look at the Kambosos fight, bro. He is not going to beat Shakur from 10 once they get in the championship rounds. And if the fight is already close, Shakur can turn it up. And you know what I'm saying? It's a done deal for Dev.
Okay, I agree with most of it, but let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
What was, in your opinion, what was the flaw in Shakur going to the WBC? Was it A, because you think it was going to almost be like that Jamel Herring situation, or what Bud was getting ready to do to Fundora? Do you think that was the cause, or do you think that it was just disrespect? Because normally, if you want to get something done and you go to the sanctioning body, normally you'd be like, all right, well, he did what he's supposed to do because at least he petitioned, or at least he contacted this. Like, what was the flaw? Because I didn't understand this from Devin fans. Like, I didn't understand what was the flaw in Shakur doing that. Like, how y'all view that?
Okay, here's my reasoning, right? It started out with Shakur admitting that most of the conversation happened between the lawyers, right? So if this is where your starting point was, right, and the lawyers are telling you, listen, we're going for 50%, right? We're going initially for 50. You wanted to make it a 50-50 fight. It was like on Dev's side, it was like, you're crazy to ask for a 50-50 fight. We get where you want to make it a 50-50 fight because of your name and what you did at the lower weight classes, but right now you really haven't done nothing but beat up Yoshino. You come to the table with nothing and you lost those belts on the scale. So the offer that we're putting to you is within reason. Okay, so if you think it's within reason, and I'm telling you, and I come out and I make the statement that you're easy, this will be the easiest fight, then for me, if I'm saying the guy is easy, I don't have to go to the WBC. I'm going to talk to you with me and you. Me and you are talking right now. For me to go to the WBC, to me, is like going to your parents and telling your parents that the kid in the sandbox doesn't want to play. You feel what I'm saying? With his truck that he bought to the sandbox with you, and then your parents got to express to you, well, listen, it's his truck. He could do what he wants to do with it. Dev had all the leverage. He was going to be the A side in that situation and everything. If you felt he's easy, talk to him, pull a bluff, and y'all keep it within house to immediately take those negotiations. And as soon as you hear something you don't like, you put it on the internet. That kind of made me feel like, why are you taking these negotiations to the internet? What
is that how you seen it, C-Dub?
Yeah, man. I really didn't want to get into it with AC about this,
Go
man.
ahead. If that's just kind of the way I'm reading the situation. If you guys have a different perspective, I done going through it with 3 hours with my man Blue. I don't believe y'all could say anything crazier than my man Blue. So I'll respect everything you guys got to say, and I'll say
No,
that.
mine is on wax. I followed it through. I just didn't. I always wanted to know with somebody that wasn't going to be in their emotions, and they actually
My opinion.
explain it to me as far as when Core went to the WBC, because I didn't look at. I looked at it like, man, I looked at it the way I looked at it the way I looked at Bill and how they be doing stuff. Sometimes I looked at it like, look, man, I ain't even gonna play with this dude. I'm gonna go straight to the sanctioned body. I know if I go there, because the jargon really was that they could levy up to 50, but I think the minimum was 30. You know what I'm saying? So it was like it was more than just 25, but at least it was a 30, and they could, but they would look at the last 3 paydays. So I'm like, if Devin was pulling in what he was pulling in, and Shakur was pulling in what he was pulling in, I'm like, shit, they probably would have won. It probably would have been a 30 piece. You know what I'm saying, for Shakur. So I didn't look at it. I just always wanted to hear from somebody that was on the other side how they felt about it.
If you come back with a counter, if you come back with an intelligent counter, you feel what I'm saying? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, for me, it was more of this. The deal that Dev and Bill offered you, whether it came down to 25%, whether all the alleged stories about the other 2 deals, other 2 times they contacted your people and your lawyers were actually true or whatever. Okay, you know they're going to lowball you, because here's the thing. I believe, and me being a Devin Haney fan and believing that my guy can beat Shakur, but not at 35, it was the type of offer that was meant for you to reject. If we're gonna say Eddie and them send lowball offers, whatever, if that's the argument you want to make with this Devin and Shakur, I can understand your reasoning and I can get behind it. But where I have the issue is your man said, your homie said, I'm gonna land it right here. Your homie said, Shakur said that he was easy. If he's easy, take whatever the offer that they're offering you, beat his easy ass. You get all the belts plus lineal championship. You're good money.
Okay, the promoter at the time, right, was Bob Aaron, right? What did he say?
When it came down to Shakur and Dev,
What did he say about the contract? My bad, not the contract, the offer. What did he say?
He said it was no contract, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
That wasn't a valid offer or nothing. It wasn't even an offer. So what are we talking about? Like, and then if Shakur did go to the, he said if he did go to the behind their back, he would have took the 30 or whatever they gave him. He would have fought him. So if it was so easy, he would have fought him. And they didn't give him that. He didn't give it to him. What did Devin do right after that? He went right up to and fight Prograde. So
because that was on the table. The Prograde fight was already on the table. It's basically what you're looking at, and I was kind of alluding to this on another channel, where people talk about this Brian Norman situation. Brian Norman already had a fight lined up. He was already in conversation with Prograde. They already read the room. They already read everything that was in the room, knowing that Dev can't make 35 like that no more. If Dev was going to sacrifice himself to 35, he'd rather sacrifice that weight cut and everything to the bigger bag, which was Tank. You feel what I'm saying? To sacrifice yourself for the Shakur bag, neither one of you guys were like headliners like that. They half the argument is gonna be, oh, both these pillow fisted motherfuckers gonna get in the ring. It's gonna be the most boring technical fight ever. You feel what I'm saying? That's what the majority of the casuals would say. You feel what I'm saying? So there's a legitimate argument of saying, all right, so if this 25% is real, where was the 25% coming from to make this fight? You feel me? So there's a lot of issues. I just always after hindsight being said, it was like, okay, that was a pump fake on both these niggas' parts, and that's where I landed my plane. I was like, yeah, that was a huge pump fake just to see if that fight could generate what kind of buzz that fight does, if people actually thought it was going to be real, just to see, just to get a gauge on what those numbers would look like. And I
Look,
think,
man, I don't think they're gonna fight, man. I don't even think they're gonna fight. I wanted to hear from your perspective. Like all my opinions and thoughts on it, it's on wax already. You know
okay,
what I'm saying? And I did it due to time. I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see from your perspective.
my
You
my
know,
perspective, I'll just tie it up in this. My biggest perspective was I had a problem with him going to the WBC simply because you said that man was easy. It's on record, after his last fight, with Loma, you said he's easy. It'll be the easiest fight you have. So when they made the offer to you, why go to the WBC? Why not take that offer and beat his easy ass? All the belts is on the line. You feel what I'm saying? Lineal championship is on the line. After that, you go your own way. You the fucking man.
Hey, AC, I need to ask you another thing,
Go ahead.
and I just want to know your opinion, man. I'm not Blue Hustle, so I'm not gonna be going crazy with you. But my thing is, what did you think when Shakur went into the ring after the Loma fight with the Haney's running out so fast?
Um, I felt like you shouldn't have left that early. Maybe you should have entertained it. But I do get why you left the ring that early because Shakur was kind of being annoying, like Caleb Plant was to Berlanga. It's like, when we gonna get the fight? We gonna do the fight? Yeah, did that fight? And he's like, yo, I got to deal with Loma first. Let me deal with Loma, and then we'll get at you. But you so thirsty that you were just up in there, whatever. So to me, it was. I get where the Haney should have stayed in there and at least addressed them, and then for me, I would have just chipped them down. Like, listen, you got to stop being this goddamn thirsty. We sent you, we told you what it was. We had Loma on the plate. You seen what we just did to Loma. If you want to be next, we can make that happen. You feel what I'm saying? But nobody, they weren't trying to make that fight at that point. It was all pump fakes.
yeah,
See,
I think it was pump faking because everybody knew he wasn't gonna be able to make 35. But
Yeah.
he said there will not be another champion at 35 for the rest of the year. And I said, dang, man. And then when he said, well, we going up. The only thing that made it right, again, the only thing that made it right was that he went up there and took Regis Strap in a fashion that I didn't see coming, for real. Not like that. That's the only thing that kind of rectified that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
man.
Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, a nigga like me would be like, I can't explain why all of that happened. I'm a huge Devin Haney fan, but I just can't see it happen.
Did you
I
see the
just don't.
Ward video? What y'all take away from that Ward video?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm trying to find the original video. I know I got to go to Ward, but I was just trying to see clips or whatever, and it's just dudes giving their opinion, and I'm like, I don't want to hear your opinion. I want to hear the actual interview. But
What?
but if y'all got an opinion on it, I'll listen to y'all opinion.
What opinion?
I-
I didn't hear it.
Did you see the Andre Ward and Devin Haney interview?
Yeah, I kind of fell asleep. Only thing, only thing that I brought it up with my guy Sauce is that when he was talking about how crazy Ryan was, he knew his camp, he was partying every day and having sex and everything like that. But you lost. I get it. It's PEDs. But he wasn't Ryan. I'm talking about wasn't disciplined. He wasn't humbled. So how can you lose to a fighter and he's not, training correctly and you got your butt beat? I don't understand that. I get it with the PEDs, but still, your skills should overcome that, man. That's just how I see it. I mean, I hope he could bounce back. We'll see.
There's two problems I had with that fight. Number one was you weren't, in my opinion, 100% acclimated to 140, right? Number two, you're not the knockout guy, so to fall into the hype that your dad is putting out there to knock somebody out, and you could see in the game plan that that's what your game plan was, because you were extremely flat-footed, you were extremely stationary, so you made it easy for the guy who was not, who didn't come in right, who didn't train right, and was on PEDs, just to fuck you up, because you came in there on a hype that maybe your dad is constantly telling you, yeah, listen, look at what Roy Jones said. Look at what all of these people said. They want you to end this guy's career, retire him. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to knock him the fuck out. So when you go in there with that game plan and you're not the knockout guy, that type of shit happens to you because it's not what you do. If he would have did what he does, which is just go in there, outbox, control distance, you feel what I'm saying, control the tempo of the fight, everybody had you winning that fight. You were the favorite to win that fight because of what Devin Haney does, not because Devin Haney is known to knock motherfuckers out.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you came in there with the wrong game plan to a guy who much bigger than you and had a banned substance in his body, and also was involved in a corrupt, using an IV to rehydrate or clean his blood, whatever the fuck he was doing with it, which New York State regulation says you can't do that shit before the fight. So how the fight actually wound up, going through and not being stopped or whatever. Hey, maybe they lined you up because they're like, between you and your dad, you niggas need to be humble. So you go ahead with the game plan. You go ahead with that game plan to knock Ryan Garcia out, everybody knowing you're not a knockout artist. Go ahead. Go do that.
Well, Ryan tapped that ass, but he gave Devin a mulligan with the fucking cheating shit. So it's like some time went by. Ryan still serving his thing. Did either one of y'all ever consider Devin as pound for pound?
No.
At one point I did.
Was this before or after the Loma fight?
It was, for me, I think it was after the Loma fight. I finally bought into it. He was still one of my guys, but I was still on the fence with him being a pound for pound fighter.
Okay. Well, we had a good cook, man. We had a nice little cook, man. Glad, people could express themselves without no craziness. But that's how we do, man. We kind of try to foster that kind of environment where even if we don't agree, we could take something away from the conversation. I know I have, man. I'm just looking at it like, I guess when people are out here in real time having conversations about fights that can happen, who's really good, who's really ducking, if we all just put them all on the same scale and use the same ruler, we will all be coming to the same conclusion of who's maneuvering out of a fight and really point the finger as to why we're not getting them. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's going to be a lot of pound for pound stuff, conversations coming up. I thought this would be a good little piece to have and put something on everybody's mind. You know what I'm saying? But everybody want to give their closing thoughts?
Yeah, my closing thoughts is great conversation and shit like that, bro. I don't like I said. I hold no grudges with everyone. We could have a heavy night that we just disagree, and your passion is coming out like my passion is coming out. I done been through it with Pop. I done been through it with with Body. I done been through it with Chaos. You feel what I'm saying? And I believe you me. Being a New York fan, I gotta have thick skin like that because whether it's basketball, football, whatever, you feel me? The only sport New York really dominates like that is baseball. So at the end of the day, you gotta have a thick skin when you're coming from New York and be able to talk your shit. And that's where I land my plane. Great show, Body. Um, you feel me? I caught it early enough to where it's like, all right, I won't be interrupting a lot of people's cooking shit like that. You feel what I'm saying? With having to start all over again. So, I hop
Appreciate it.
out.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. It was a pleasure chopping that boxing up with you, man. We'll chit chat later, man.
For sure.
All right, C-Dub.
All right, Body Work, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to jump on your panel again, man. And it was pretty fun, man.
But lead the people with something, man. Lead the people with something. Put something on the people's mind, man.
What?
Before you go, man, say something, man. Give your closing thoughts.
I did. I said, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I'm saying something about boxing. Give them something to think about boxing before you go, man.
Man, Terrence Crawford, he's the number one pound to pound best in the world. And rock with Terrence Crawford over here, man. You guys have a good day, good night, and keep watching Body Work. Peace.
All right, C-Dub. Man. You know what I'm saying? We did have a classic one, man. Pound for Pound was cooking in the comment section, man. He was cooking in the comment section, man. I like to hear people's thoughts, man. It's like, man, people they be acting so I'd be like, really? How much you getting paid, champ? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we don't get the fights, man. But pound for pound, you was cooking, man, in the comment section, man. Had me laughing at times, but we had a pound for pound conversation, and again, this was something that I did this list, this list that I had, that I put up. That was from December 27th of 2023. You know what I'm saying? December 27th of 2023. So I see these pound for pound conversations coming back around, and I'm like, my list pretty much kind of stand. You know what I'm saying? I had to pluck out, maybe swap out 2 names, but I'm right on Asman for what ESPN and all them people were saying, give or take a name, and I don't put heavyweights on there. But hopefully, man, you took something away from it. Hopefully you gained something from it. You learned something, put something in your rucksack, was entertained. I appreciate everybody who stepped into the building, from Pound for Pound, C-Dub, Aaron Jones, Cookie Monster, Al Money, Al Montes, Roll Rage. Salute to everybody who came into the building. If you catch this on the playback, let me know how you feel in the comment section. Talk to me, I talk back. Pound for pound was the conversation, man. What you got on your pound for pound? Leave your pound for pound list in my comment section. Let's hash it out. This is not my updated one. This is the one from a year ago, but I'll just leave this at the end. Something I did an entire year ago. Almost. It's always a pleasure, man, to put good positive energy out there in the sport, man. I think the sport is doing all right, man. Just keep your eye on the prize, man. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to